Ladies and gentlemen, today we address a topic that many men grapple with, the notion of being a man with no girlfriend. You see, we live in a world that prizes the idea of coupling up, of finding someone to share your life with. And there's nothing wrong with that. Relationships are, in many ways, the cornerstone of human existence. But let me tell you something crucial, something that often gets lost in the noise. There's power in being alone. If you find yourself without a girlfriend, you're not broken. You're not incomplete. No, you're in a unique position. This time is precious. A time for self-discovery. It's an opportunity, not a burden. If you have the courage to face yourself, to face your weaknesses, your fears, and your unresolved issues, you'll emerge stronger. You'll become a man who understands himself. A man who is no longer defined by external validation, but by internal strength. If you find yourself without a girlfriend, let me tell you, you're not in a bad place. You're not incomplete or missing something. You're not any less of a man because of it. In fact, you are in a rare and precious position, an opportunity that many men overlook or take for granted. This period of being alone can be one of the most defining times of your life. It is a time for self-discovery, growth, and real transformation. In today's world, we often get caught up in the idea that we need to be paired up to feel validated. We are constantly bombarded by the image of the perfect couple, the ideal relationship, as if that is the ultimate goal in life. The reality, however, is much more complex. Relationships, while deeply meaningful, should not be the defining feature of your existence. Your worth is not determined by whether or not you have a partner. It is determined by who you are as an individual. Your character, your integrity, and your ability to stand strong even when faced with challenges. So if you're single right now, consider this. You have a unique opportunity to focus solely on yourself. You have the time and space to dive deep into self-reflection, to analyze your strengths, and more importantly, to confront your weaknesses. This is your chance to become the best version of yourself. Use it wisely. This period of being alone isn't about waiting for someone else to come along and fill a void. It's about understanding that you are enough as you are, right now. It's about realizing that being single is not a flaw, nor does it indicate that something is wrong with you. In fact, it's the opposite. The absence of a romantic partner means you have the freedom to devote your time and energy to yourself, to your growth, and to your goals. You can use this time to focus on things that matter, to develop your skills, to pursue your passions, and to become stronger. Mentally, emotionally, and physically. Imagine you're building a house. Would you want to rush through the foundation, or would you want to take the time to make sure it's solid, built to last? Would you want to take shortcuts, or would you want to do it right? The foundation of your life, your character, your purpose, your inner strength, should be built before you invite anyone else into it. And you can only do this if you embrace your time alone, not as a curse, but as an opportunity to build something substantial, something worth sharing when the time comes. But there's another critical aspect of this period that often gets overlooked: responsibility. When you're single, you have the ability to take full ownership of your life in ways that are harder to do when you're involved with someone else. Life doesn't owe you a relationship. It doesn't owe you love. It doesn't owe you a perfect partner. But you owe it to yourself to be the best man you can be, to be someone who is capable of having a healthy, fulfilling relationship when the right time comes. This means taking responsibility for your circumstances, for the areas where you are struggling, and for your future. Stop waiting for someone else to fix your problems or fill the emptiness. You are the one who needs to take the reins. This is your life, and you can make it into something extraordinary if you're willing to put in the work. If you want to have a successful relationship down the road, Start now by building the foundation of who you are. Develop your strength, your sense of purpose, your discipline, your character. That's what matters. And when you're not dependent on someone else for your happiness, when you don't feel as though you need to be in a relationship to feel validated, you become free. You become whole, self-sufficient, and independent. That kind of independence, that inner strength, is magnetic. People will notice it, not just women, but anyone. They will see you as a person who has his life together, someone who isn't seeking approval or validation. And that, my friend, is what makes you truly attractive, not just to potential partners, but to the world at large. You don't have to rush the process. It's easy to feel the pressure to find someone, especially in a culture where we are constantly reminded of how wonderful it is to be in a relationship. But rushing into something before you're ready, before you've built yourself up, can lead to a life of dissatisfaction. It's like trying to build a house on a shaky foundation. You might get the walls up quickly, but it won't stand the test of time. Instead, focus on your purpose. What is the mission you're on in this life? What legacy do you want to leave behind? This is the most important question you can ask yourself, and it should guide everything you do. When your life is driven by purpose, the right people will naturally be drawn to you. A woman who shares your vision, your goals, and your values will enter your life when you're truly ready, not when you're simply searching for someone to fill a gap or make you feel less alone. The period of being without a girlfriend is not a time for despair, but a time for patience, for building, for growing into the kind of man you are meant to be. And when the time is right, you won't just have a girlfriend, you'll have a relationship based on mutual respect, shared growth, and the strong foundation you've already built within yourself. When you take full responsibility for your life, something profound happens. You stop waiting for things to fall into place on their own. You stop looking outside yourself for solutions to your problems. You begin to realize that you are the architect of your own life. The decisions you make, the actions you take, and the choices you refuse to make all add up to who you become. When you embrace responsibility, you stop being a passive participant in your own life and start being the active creator of it. At first, this might feel like a heavy burden. After all, it's easier to blame the world, to point fingers, to complain about the circumstances, or to wonder why life hasn't turned out the way you wanted. But here's the truth. The moment you accept full responsibility for where you are right now, you take back control. The world isn't acting on you, it's acting with you. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances, but a participant in shaping them. When you're single, especially in a culture that pushes relationships so aggressively, there's often this feeling that you must be doing something wrong or missing something. People might tell you that you should be out dating, that you should be looking for the one. But here's the key. Your life isn't a checklist, and love doesn't operate on a timetable. Too many men feel the pressure to rush into relationships because of society expectations or personal insecurity. But this pressure does more harm than good. When you're not focused on building yourself and your life, but instead on finding someone to fill an imagined void, you're bound to make poor decisions. Rushing into relationships is like trying to fast-track growth in any area of life. It doesn't work, and it often backfires. Think about it. If you aren't fully aware of who you are, how can you expect someone else to truly see you, to understand your needs and your vision? If you don't yet know what you bring to the table, what your values are, what your purpose is, how will you ever find someone who matches those things? You can't build a lasting, meaningful relationship on shaky ground. Relationships take work, they take time, and they require a solid foundation. And that foundation starts with you. It's easy to get discouraged during this time of being single. You might think that being alone is a sign of failure, or worse, that there's something fundamentally wrong with you. But that's not the case. In fact, this is the time to become the man you want to be. You are in a position where you can focus entirely on your own growth, free from the distractions that often come with relationships. This is the moment to develop your skills, to work on your weaknesses, to invest in your future, and to build the kind of life that anyone would be proud to share. Don't waste this time wishing it away or trying to rush into something. Instead, take this opportunity to find out what truly matters to you. What are your goals? What is your mission in life? What do you want to build? Without a relationship to focus on, you have the rare chance to ask yourself these deep, important questions. And the more time you take to reflect, the clearer your path will become. Relationships, when they come, should enhance the life you're already building, not replace it or define it. Moreover, by focusing on developing yourself, you will naturally become someone who can offer more in a relationship. A man who is grounded in his own sense of purpose, who has direction and discipline in his life, is someone others look up to and are drawn to. This is the kind of person who attracts the right partner. This is the kind of person who offers stability, integrity, and strength in a relationship. He's also a frame of respect in the world and builds up support and respect for others. These are qualities that can only be developed by looking inward, by taking full responsibility for the person you are becoming. One of the hardest things about being single is the feeling of emptiness that sometimes arises. We are wired for connection, for companionship, and so being without that can feel uncomfortable. But here's something crucial. You will never feel truly fulfilled or whole through someone else. Fulfillment doesn't come from finding a partner. It comes from knowing who you are, knowing what you stand for, and building a life that is worthy of your time and energy. You cannot find peace or purpose in someone else. You have to find it within yourself first. That is the real power of this period of being single. It's not an empty time. It's a time for transformation. It's a time for you to step up, take responsibility for your life, and create a future that excites you. And when you do this, when you build a life that reflects your highest potential, the right relationship will come, not because you are chasing it, but because you've become the kind of person that naturally attracts the right partner. It's not about waiting around for something to happen. It's about becoming the man who is prepared when the right opportunity comes along. And by doing so, you'll have the life and the relationship that you truly deserve. In life, one of the most powerful things you can achieve is independence. This doesn't mean isolation, but rather a deep understanding that your sense of value and fulfillment comes from within. It means that you no longer depend on external factors like the validation or approval of others to feel whole. This independence is the backbone of strength, and it allows you to navigate life with resilience and confidence. When you're single, this is your time to cultivate that independence. Too often, society tells us that we need a partner to be complete, to be happy, or to be successful. It tells us that if we're not in a relationship, there's something wrong with us. But this is simply not true. Being single is an opportunity to discover your own strength. It's the perfect time to focus on yourself, not because you are lacking, but because you are whole. Think about it for a moment. When you're not dependent on someone else to fulfill your needs or to give you a sense of worth, you become more than just a person looking for external sources of validation. You become someone who is strong on their own, someone who can stand firm and face challenges without needing someone else to pick them up. When you are independent, you are not seeking to be completed by someone else, because you have already built a solid foundation within yourself. This is not to say that relationships are not valuable or that we should avoid them altogether. Relationships are vital and can offer immense joy, support, and growth. However, the mistake many people make is entering relationships for the wrong reasons, seeking a partner to fulfill needs they haven't yet addressed on their own. When you rely on someone else to complete you, you set yourself up for disappointment. You may end up in a relationship that is not based on mutual respect and understanding, but rather on an unhealthy dependence. Independence gives you the power to choose wisely. When you are complete in yourself, when you understand who you are and what you want, you enter relationships from a place of strength, not from a place of neediness. You can now choose a partner who complements your life, not one who fills a void. You can offer love freely, without the pressure of expecting something in return. This is a much healthier and sustainable approach to relationships. When you're single, take the time to nurture your own sense of worth. Work on your personal development. Focus on your health, both mental and physical. Develop your skills. Pursue passions and interests that excite you. Build a life that is rich with meaning, so that when the right relationship does come along, you are not searching for someone to provide you with a sense of purpose. You already have it. You have your own journey, your own mission, and when you invite someone into your life, they should be someone who shares your values, your passions, and your direction, not someone who simply fills the space next to you. And this sense of independence isn't something that can be rushed. It's not about immediately putting yourself into a mindset of, I don't need anyone. It's about gradually shifting your focus inward, recognizing that you are the primary person responsible for your own happiness and fulfillment. Over time, you'll begin to notice that your relationships become more genuine, more rewarding, and more authentic, because they're no longer about seeking completion or approval. They're about shared growth and partnership. In a society where instant gratification is often the norm, it can be difficult to embrace the idea that true independence takes time. But let me tell you something. This is not a race. Life is not about rushing to find someone to complete you or to fill a gap. It's about becoming whole first, so that when the time comes, you can engage in a relationship with clarity, purpose, and a sense of mutual respect. Independence also brings with it freedom, the freedom to make decisions based on what's best for you, not out of fear of loneliness or the desire to please others. You have the ability to set your own path without the constraints of constantly having to accommodate someone else's needs or desires. You are free to explore your potential, to create a life that aligns with your deepest values, and to pursue goals that matter to you. Moreover, when you are truly independent, you also learn the value of self-love. This is not an ego-driven love, but a deep acceptance and appreciation of who you are, flaws and all. This love for yourself is not conditional upon your relationship status or what anyone else thinks of you. It is the recognition that you are worthy, you are capable, and you are deserving of a meaningful life, regardless of whether or not you are in a romantic partnership. So, as you embrace this time of being single, do not rush it. Take it as a gift, a time to build yourself up, to become the best version of yourself. Use it to cultivate independence, to create a strong, fulfilling life that stands on its own. Because when you do this, you are not only preparing for a relationship that adds value to your life, you are preparing for a life that is already full, rich, and complete on its own. And that, my friend, is the kind of life that will naturally attract the right partner when the time is right. In life, purpose is the driving force that propels us forward. It is the compass that guides our decisions, shapes our actions, and provides meaning to everything we do. Yet so many men overlook the importance of having a clear and defined purpose, especially when they are single. Instead, they chase after fleeting desires, looking for fulfillment in external factors, such as relationships or societal approval. But the truth is, purpose comes first. When you're single, the time you have is invaluable. It's an opportunity to cultivate a life that is rooted in meaning, a life that is driven by purpose. The pursuit of your goals and passions should take precedence, not because relationships are unimportant, but because a relationship should be the natural extension of a life already filled with direction and intention. If you have no sense of purpose, no overarching goal or mission that you're working toward, then what foundation are you building your life on? You cannot expect to attract or maintain a healthy relationship if your life is directionless or dependent on others for validation. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to have everything figured out. It's not about having all the answers or knowing exactly where you'll be in 5 or 10 years. Purpose is less about a concrete destination and more about direction. It's about moving forward with intention even when the full path is not yet clear. It's about aligning your actions with your values and investing in things that matter deeply to you. Deliberate revelation, simple loving yourself, a sense of indignation, and a sense of power. Purpose is what drives you when everything else feels uncertain. It is the foundation that holds you steady when life's challenges threaten to knock you off course. When you embrace purpose, everything changes. You begin to see every challenge, every setback, as an opportunity for growth. You no longer get bogged down by the distractions of life, whether that's the pressure to find a partner or the constant noise telling you what you should be doing. Instead, you develop the strength to prioritize your goals, even when it feels uncomfortable or lonely. And in doing so, you build a life that is rich with meaning, regardless of your relationship status. Purpose also brings with it a sense of self-worth that is unshakable. When you're driven by something greater than yourself, you begin to understand that your value isn't determined by external circumstances. It isn't determined by whether or not you're in a relationship or how others perceive you. It is determined by the work you put in, by your commitment to your goals, and by the way you live your life with integrity and authenticity. When you pursue your purpose, you build a sense of self-respect that doesn't rely on external validation. You become someone who stands firm in who you are, someone who is living according to their values rather than chasing after fleeting desires or superficial connections. And it's from this place of self-respect and purpose that you can begin to build meaningful relationships. When you know who you are, what you stand for, and what you're working toward, you attract people who resonate with that energy. You no longer have to chase after relationships or people who are not aligned with your values or your goals. Instead, you attract those who are on a similar path, those who complement your life and share your vision for the future. Relationships that are born from shared purpose are the ones that are most likely to stand the test of time. In a world where distractions are abundant, where the pressure to be in a relationship can sometimes feel overwhelming, it's important to remember that purpose comes first. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking fulfillment in the wrong places. It's easy to feel as though something is missing because you're not in a relationship. But what's missing is not a partner, it's a sense of direction. A relationship can never fulfill you in a way that personal purpose can. You must invest in yourself, in your growth, and in your goals before you can expect to build a fulfilling relationship with anyone else. You must learn to love yourself, to find meaning and purpose in the work that you do, and to build a life that is complete on its own. Only then will you be ready for a relationship that truly enhances your life, a relationship that is not born out of need, but of mutual growth, respect, and shared values. By focusing on purpose, you will not only enrich your own life, but you will also create the foundation for a meaningful relationship when the time comes. Relationships are not the means to an end, they are an extension of the life you've already created for yourself. And when you're living with purpose, when you're grounded in who you are and what you want from life, you will find that everything else falls into place, including the right relationship. So, do not rush the process. Do not allow the pressures of society to dictate your pace. Focus on your purpose, on building a life that excites and challenges you. When you do that, you will not only attract the right people, but you will create a life that is rich with meaning, purpose, and fulfillment, whether you're single or in a relationship. Discipline and patience are often the unsung heroes of success, especially when it comes to personal growth and relationships. In a world that celebrates instant gratification and quick results, the true power of discipline and patience is often overlooked. However, these two qualities are not just important, they are essential to achieving long-term success and fulfillment. And when it comes to navigating the period of being single, they become even more crucial. When you're single, there's often a temptation to rush things. Society constantly tells you that you need to be in a relationship, that finding the one should be your priority. But if you give in to this pressure, you risk making decisions that aren't aligned with your true self, your values, or your long-term goals. This is where discipline comes in. Discipline means making the decision to stay focused on your own growth, even when distractions arise or when the pressure to conform becomes overwhelming. It means committing to the long-term process of becoming the best version of yourself, rather than succumbing to the immediate desire for a relationship, approval, or external validation.